welcome back. Again, Father Ces Magsino and David Rosario here with us to discuss mga practical considerations on natural law. In our readings, and we've also exchanged books on the matter, we've found out na there's this natural law discussed ni Cicero, and then of course sila Aquinas, and then we have a bunch of people, sila Grisey and sila Fines. So parang nabilito, parang medyo and then your classmate as well, who is a very famous exponent right now sa natural law, si Martin Ronheimer. But these apparently there seems to be several strands of schools with regard to natural law. So baka mamaya kasi pag may mga audience ay nagkuha sila ng libro, mapapansin baka mamaya parang nagkakaiba ba ng konti ito. So what are the different kinds of natural law schools of thought are they, and talaga ba magkakaiba sila?
Well, so ang definition natin kasi ng natural law, it is the very same practical reason that tells us in our normal actions, moral actions, which things are morally good and which things are morally evil. So, but then since that practical reason bases itself on human nature, which is the same for all men and for all time, and and the same practical reason follows, quote-unquote, the same rules, then necessarily natural law will be one and the same for all. Kaya natural law has the quality of being universal. That means for all men. So hindi siya mag-iiba, hindi siya magbabago.
Even though parang magkakaiba yung schools of thought, hindi pa rin siya nakaka-detract from the character ng natural law as universal.
Kasi yung historically, natural law has been talked about since even a century or two before Christ. Like ito nga, si Cicero and the Stoics.
I think Plato as well yata talked about.
Plato also, and Aristotle also. And then so, historically, philosophers have talked about it. But then, their understanding of the natural law is not, you might say, perfect. They have certain deficiencies, they have certain focuses, they have certain ways of understanding it that is not, you might say, complete. Hindi siya kompleto. Kaya dun sila nagkakaiba. So for example, yung mga Stoics, they said natural law is right reason in our actions. Pero pag in-investigate mo, ano ibig sabihin ng right reason? Yung pala, they identify right reason, they call it logos, with the order and the harmony of everything.
Of the universe.
Okay. So,
so more or less, it's like physical laws of nature yung pagkaintindi nila.
Parang naturalistic yung pagkaintindi nila sa natural law. So then, yun, depekto yun. So, but they're using the same terms as we use, but yung kanilang understanding iba.
If I may shortcut it lang, for example, for our audiences here who will probably want to order books sa internet or sa Fully Book or Power Books, kung ano may makita nila, by the way, which is product placement, so I hope they sponsor us in the future. But you could see, there will be two strands from what I've learned, yung mga tinatawag na neo-Thomist, and then the new or the analytical natural law theory. You're saying kasi even though dalawang schools of thought, still universal pa rin ang application natural law.
That's right.
But what I'd like to ask is, may pagkakaiba ba yung dalawang to ng schools of thought? Alam ko si Martin, your classmate sa Rome, is a tinatawag na neo-Thomist. And then sila John Finnis naman, kinoconsider sila as mga new analytics.
So in the natural law theory, it is St. Thomas Aquinas in the 13th century who gave the very solid principles and foundations for natural law thinking. Although, hindi siya nagsulat ng isang libro lang or isang treatise tungkol sa topic na ito. But now, in this century, nagkaroon ng, and only recently, actually, last century pala, no? In the 20th, nasa 21st pala tayo. In the 20th century, there was a revival of natural law thinking. So on the part of Thomists and on the part of some English philosophers who are called analytical philosophers. Now, all of these people owe much also to St. Thomas and to realism. So, And they are unearthing or discovering valid insights into understanding even better not only the general theory of natural law, pero more concrete things and more concrete questions about the natural law. So authors like John Finis, ito nga, Father Martin Ronheimer, and then Robert George, and then Grisey. So these are people who are now explaining even further the meaning or the correct understanding, a more complete understanding of the natural law. Yan, pwedeng basahin sila. They're okay.
Well, I was just wondering, so what's your take on, for example, may ibang philosopher like sina Immanuel Kant na hinanap nila yung natural law, they studied it, pero it seems that masyado sila napasok sa reason side. Kumbaga, na-disregard nila yung faith portion ng natural law. Is this something that is it how dangerous is such a idea?
Yung concretely, Immanuel Kant, yung kanyang outlook ay ang isang bagay ay tama at dapat gawin dahil lang duty siya. Duty. Yan ay deber mo. Yan ay dapat mong gawin. At magiging duty siya dahil yung kung ano yung iyong maxim ang tinatawag niya, yung iyong kasabihan ay pwedeng maging universal. So, yung ganung pag-iisip, hindi na nakabata yon sa reason and then also bearing on human nature. Medyo mahirap isagawa yon sa totoo lang. Kung isipin mo, ikaw, ano ba yung duty mo? Siyempre, yung tao, iisipin niya kung ano yung duty niya, batay uli sa alam natin na natural law. Kung ano yung tamang pag-iisip o katwiran tungkol sa dapat nating gawin.
Well, actually, you could see na kung gaano ka medyo complex din or interesting the topic. Kasi actually, like that one question of yours, you could have an entire episode na talking about that na. It's really, but if we could move on a little bit lang into, again, more into the practical considerations. So, can you use natural law ba into your day-to-day life? Or is it just kumbaga, very general principles na parang, in a way, parang motherhood statement ba ang dating niya? Or talagang meron ba siyang application? Like, paglabas natin, pagsakay natin sa jeep, may application ba ang natural law sa atin?
Yes, very much so. Kasi, as soon as you act, you do something using your freedom, you're already applying the principles of natural law. Kasi, as soon as we act, our consciences, yung konsyensya natin, gumagana rin yan. May sinasabi sa atin yan palagi. Hindi natin pwedeng patahimikin yung konsyensya. Anything that we do that engages our freedom, the conscience has something to say and is telling us something. Ano ba yung konsyensya? Yung konsyensya, yan yung ating pag-iisip rin na naghuhusga. At hinuhusga niya kung yung ginagawa natin o yung gagawin natin o yung ginawa natin ay tama o mali, morally upright or morally depraved. So, gumagana yan palagi. At paano siyang gagana? Gagana siya dahil yung pag-iisip, meron siyang mga prinsipyo kung ano yung tama at mali. Hindi ma-apply ng konsyensya natin kung ano yung tama at mali kung wala siyang previous principle na sinasabi, ito tama, ito mali. In general. Tapos pag gumawa tayo, in that particular case, in that particular situation, ina-apply ng konsyensya. So therefore, natural law, we apply that all the time for all our moral actions.
Moral actions, not necessarily, not commercial, but yung moral aspect nung commercial or business or what have you.
Yes, because any action that we do, whether we are brushing our teeth or eating, reading a book, transacting business, palaging may component yan ng ating freedom. We made choices.
But can I also ask, would all of those actions also include a moral component ba?
Usually yes.
Okay.
Usually yes, because we make choices about how we might conduct ourselves. And as long as we make a free choice, we are always making a moral choice.
So, kumbaga, yung simpleng bagay lang, like pag inom ng tubig or pag-brush ng teeth, it's possible na may moral na aspect yon, and that moral aspect should, in a way, be guided by that natural,
law. That's
but,
right.
But is it possible? Kasi sa sinasabi niyo ho, di ba? I hope you don't, for the audience, I hope you don't mind. Let's say you have a general principle, ito yung natural law, and then, but may mga specific ways in which paano siya masusunod. Hindi naman, I think, hindi naman siya parang mandatory na ganito yung mga kilos, right? I think may mga general principle and then may mga specific.
That's right.
So is it possible na faced with the same situation, kami ni David, pwedeng si David kumaliwa, ako kumanan, pero pareho kaming tama under natural law? Is that possible?
It depends on the thing or the situation you're talking about. Because, for example, in solving human problems or solving some concrete situation, there is not one way by which that problem can be solved. So, let's say you want to build a bridge. Okay, so you're both engineers, and then you say, I want a suspension bridge, and then I want a pontoon bridge, I want a steel bridge, I want a concrete bridge. Now, of course, so those are all valid options, and in that concrete situation, you can go one way, he can go another, and those actions will not contravene anything of the natural law, because the natural law will not specify what kind of bridge you want to build. Okay.
But wouldn't that again put a critic into asking us, for example, so ayun pala eh. So, kunyari, pagdating sa birth control or sa family planning, yung paraan ng simbahan, may alternatibo rin pala kami na pwedeng gawin, na pwede rin maging tama kami.
Kasi ngayon naman, the precepts of the natural law, what the natural tells us to follow or not to follow, has very, very clear consequences in our personal lives. So, whether you make a stone bridge or a steel bridge will not make you a better person than him or him than you. But when it comes to some things that have to do with moral questions, whether you follow it or not has an effect on you.
Like,
it will make you a better person or a worse person.
Like, I will make a stone bridge pero I'm using slave labor. parang ganun.
So moral questions have to do with you as a person, you as a good person or an evil person. And therefore, hindi siya indifferent. Hindi siya pwedeng, sige, itong gusto kong gawin. Ikaw, itong gusto mo. Like, in contraception, that is a moral issue. So whether you follow the church or not will have consequences on you.
Okay. So, siguro, in the end, what I want to emphasize, at least for this segment, is again to reiterate, ang natural law hindi a matter of opinion. It's, kumbaga, may fixed rules talaga siya. Meron talagang tama at mali dito.
Yes.
At hindi pwedeng sabihin ng isang tao na, well, yung paraan mo tsaka paraan ko magkaiba, pero pwedeng pareho tayong tama. Meron talaga siyang fixed set of rules and logic.
That's right.
Na talagang masasabi natin standard. Either sumusunod ka doon sa standard na yun o hindi.
Kasi natural law gives us moral truth. Ayun na nga eh. Pagdating sa truth, whether it is scientific truth or just plain truth, but especially when it comes to moral truth, iisa yan. Hindi pwedeng paiba-iba.
And I think that's why pwede natin maintindihan yung simbahan, kaya ayaw nila mag-compromise.
That's
because
right.
they know ito yung truth.
Ito yung moral truth.
Paano ko magko-compromise kung ito yung truth nga.
That's right.
Well, that's very good. I think, David, you have a question, but we'll get back to you later. And I hope you can join us when you come back. Thank you.